At the edge of the Earth, just off the northern coast of BC, Canada, is a group of islands that is known as the Galápagos of the North. Haida Gwaii is your destination for unique adventures and experiences. Bring your imagination, hiking boots, a shovel for your geared stallion, and spirit of adventure for this faraway land. Wildlife, towering ancient rainforests, Haida First Nations cultural heritage, slow pace of island life, and peaceful retreat ambience will enchant and inspire as you venture with me for an hour-long journey in search of creative currents, of music composing and meditative flows. In 2021, I started looking into music composing after attempting to learn to play violin as a means of entering the music world for my creative outlet of ideas and capturing human experience. I was also looking for an opportunity to improve meditations, and the idea of Vipassana meditation retreat has caught my attention. Every year, around the end of August, I have an opportunity to take on a month-long journey somewhere. It just so happened that for the past 6 years or so, it was vehicle-based as I got interested in overlanding type of travel. Overlanding travel is focused on prolonged and relatively self-sufficient experience, somewhere away from civilization in as much as possible, hitting the dirt and sometimes obstacles, vast vistas, new smells and sounds, and for me, living cherished moments in places less visited to be captured on camera, as mementos that pierce through memory above our experiences. I was looking for a relatively peaceful, remote place that I never visited before, to try to do 10-day, 10-hour-day Vipassana meditation, as well as learn more about music creation and try to actually produce a few musical pieces, while not really knowing much about music theory or having proper professional tools at that time. Haida Gwaii is generally on every overlander's bucket list when it comes to exploring British Columbia, and so I decided finally to explore it and partake in slow island life for my musical inspiration, especially since access to the island was reopened finally again just a month prior to my decision of where to head out for that year. I bought digital piano a month prior, loaded myself with video tutorials and books about music, pre-set up my tablet with fairly simplistic music creation programs, and ventured out to seek a place that would be my home for the creative flow. I started the trip at the end of August and finished in the second week of October, so in total it was about 5 weeks. And what a wonderful trip it was, with fruits of labor in the inception of my music producing journey and creation of Mystic Notions, which is my music brand, with social medias now built up, YouTube channel and streaming platforms for any future distribution of whatever I create. The drive from Skirgate in the south all the way to Masat is pretty scenic all along the coast, and rest areas every few kilometers just like this one. Very quiet, and there are not too many people on this island, even in high season that I'm at right now. This is end of August and I'm surprised, even the ferry ride, how few people there were. The ferry ride from Prince Rupert to Haida Gwaii is about 8 hours long, and as I arrived I quickly started to realize that the distances to get to the north point of the island aren't actually small. Haida Gwaii is a big island, so I pretty much rushed through and entered Masset. With golden hour in my hand, it was perfect time to visit the old Masset, where all the native structures are. Somewhere along the way I bumped into one of the locals, and she said that on Monday pretty much all restaurants are always closed on Haida Gwaii, because this is the day when they receive food shipments from mainland. And this was the time right when I really wanted to check out Haida Gwaii cuisine. Masat community is extremely friendly. Just on my first day, I witnessed several people waving at me. Well, my truck is right in your face with its looks, so they know for sure I'm not from there. Also, there were a couple of times where some cars honked at me and actually waved, welcoming me to the island. The mission for the day was to arrive at the tip of Naikun Provincial Park, which is the most northern point of Haida Gwaii, and to set up camp before the lights would be out. So I skipped pretty much anything there was to see on the way and headed straight up for that peninsula top. Typically when not on a trip, sometimes I do skip meditations, but when I do them, they're usually about 10 minutes long in the morning, whereas here I try to do 20 to 30 minutes every morning. Northern part of the island is Naikun Provincial Park, and unfortunately I don't have permit to fly the drone to show this beauty. And this is the speed where you can actually drive, but you can't camp on the beach, you're not permitted. And it makes sense because the tides here come so high that if you camp on the beach, you're gonna be submerged eventually. So right now, I'm looking for a place to stay. It was a little bit tough last night to get a bearings where I'm at. It's very soft sand here, one wrong move of like a little track, and you're in a deep soft sand. So with my heavy vehicle, I have to tread really carefully where I can go right now and settle in for 2 weeks of my meditation. I bumped into locals last night, and they guided me how to get on the speed from the western side of the beach, and it's very easy to miss the turnoff. For cars that are heavy and don't have full-on lockers, it's pretty dangerous to stop at the gravel. You have to keep momentum and keep going, and only when tide is low. So when and then once on the east side, then you can go to Kalma Lake something. You can kind of go here and find camping areas. But another local that I bumped into said this beach here where I'm standing is pretty treacherous, and there has been many cases of vehicles basically needing to have been abandoned unless you know exactly where to go here, and there's some river crossings supposedly, and which little paths and exact ground to take. Being a local, unless you know it, it's pretty easy to get stuck here. So me being alone, I'm not taking chances. I'm treading everything very gently and getting out of car and just walking ahead to see, you know, how soft the ground is and so on. I came almost to the Rosy Point, and that right there is basically the end of the speed. However, the road here gets a little treacherous. I kind of want to go on a beach and park there. I can see there are areas where it's definitely not flooded in high tides, but the road here gets a little treacherous. So stop there, but in here it gets to be a bit of a loose sand. If I take right, then it's a big ditch, and if I go here, it's a bit of a sandy climb, and the sand is kind of loose. Same here. Like, I'm just thinking, if I have to climb back, right, get out of here, I may have a little bit of trouble. And then here it seems to be drivable. Right, there's that little path there. Get on that spot there and just keep on driving over there. I'm only one car right now. If I had two cars, just in case to winch help out, I would totally just do it right now. But with one car, I have to be careful what I'm doing here. I'm also very, very heavy, so it's like normal car probably would have a hard time winching me out if anything happens. So gentle. Currently the tide line is over there, but obviously because logs are here, so at some point, whenever and however frequently during the year, tide gets all the way up here. Even though that area seems to be safe, I just don't know when king tides come in, so I'm not sure if I should risk it or not. There's a bit of a challenge here. I tried to back away from there and into here, just go back and then turn around over there. However, first I tried to get onto this grass here just to turn around, and my rear started digging in. But this is also on a loose kind of sandy hill here. As you can see, this is like off camber, and this is very loose sand here. So I can't do it without max track. So got one max track left. So what I'm gonna do is reduce this hill in general, overall, just dig, and then use max tracks, and then all I need to do is just kind of quickly wheel back, and then there's gonna be a turnaround area. By my estimation, reducing this sandy hill with shovel, obviously it's hot, sweating, I need to start drinking water. It's probably gonna take an hour, maybe 2 hours, just deal with all that. But the good thing, I'm not stuck on the beach with tide, so I pretty much got 2 weeks to deal with this. Like, even if I get stuck a little bit further, you know, start working again, eventually get it out. But hopefully I can do it within an hour or two right now, because I did come here to play some music and meditate, not deal with this stuff. But before I do anything, now is the perfect time to sit down for like 20 minutes, meditate, relax. I mean, I got the time, that's what I'm here for anyway, so may as well. It's that idea before moving to any tasks in life, right? When we're not trained, we're constantly stuck in this programming that we have in our life, right? Moving from unconscious. So lots of steps we do in life, we're not even clear-headed. It just comes from the different patterns that are locked in us, and they keep on repeating. So the idea is just to keep noticing this when moving tasks between different things. Just come to full awareness of what you're actually doing. Like be fully present, not like a automatron going about daily business. So this was perfect timing. It's like, okay, I gotta deal with this stuff, so let's clear the mind, and it's gonna go a little bit better, you know, less stress, a little bit music on, just relax and keep plowing at it. It is what it is. What a joke, all I got is this little thing. So I think that's what I got for substitution instead of my foldable twice bigger shovel. But with these guys, right, it's so taxing on the back. That's why you need a big shovel. So from this point on, once I get out of here, I can take my chances without proper shovel. Either I go back to the town and buy one, I forgot to mention that I generally do have giant shovel sitting on top of the roof, but it got snagged. Sometime, either previous night or that day, leaving that beach spot in the other area. An hour and a half roughly, and I think my back is going to be sore tomorrow. So I decided to take the chance on the eastern beach. The sand here is definitely a little bit looser than on the western side. But right now tide is going out, so I have buffer of about 3 hours until, no, actually more. 9 o'clock p.m. today, that's gonna be low tide, and right now it's like maybe approaching 6. So I got plenty of time in case I get stuck, in case something happens somewhere, to deal with that issue. I've driven a little bit more on the east side of Haida Gwaii going south, but now I'm realizing I probably shouldn't try my chances. I'm gonna return to the spot which goes up back on the hills, and I'm just gonna camp out in the hills for the next 2 weeks. And it's still walkable distance to the beaches here. Yeah, with my vehicle weight, I shouldn't be trying going more south, alone at least. So I finally found the spot on the dunes that is close to the shore, but there is access to a beach here nearby, so probably once in a while some people are going to be coming here. So this is the first day rehearsal before 10-day Vipassana meditation. I had to wake up at 4 a.m. and see how I'm gonna be able to do it. I'm not used to waking up very early, and for this solo retreat to do it 10 hours a day, you need to wake up at 4 a.m. and go to bed at 9 a.m. So I had to test it today to see how long it's gonna take me from waking up to having breakfast, brushing teeth and all that. It's already 5 a.m. and I haven't sat down to meditate yet. I've just been dealing with things inside, because this is not in an apartment or an ashram like how usually it is being done, so everything takes a little bit more time to do in the car, right? It's a little bit cumbersome space. This place is definitely not hospitable to me or my plants, So the 10-day Vipassana thing isn't happening. I'm just battling with elements here. Because it's rainy, cold and windy outside, I'm switching to doing music right now, and I'm checking weather forecast for when to get out of this peninsula. Because the problem is, I need to wait for a certain tide time, but besides that, I can't, if it's raining, I can't drive on that beach even when tide is out, because there's some gravel portion of it, and I was told when it's wet, it's very easy to spin tires and get stuck. So I need to wait for perfect condition now to get out, sun or some kind of dry weather, and low tide time. Definitely remote. There's no one coming in right now, and it's definitely helping me quit smoking, because part of the reason I'm here is also quit smoking on this trip. And so far, 3 days without cigarettes, or I think it might be 4th now. I'm amazed. I'm not thinking all that much, and whenever I do, I just go meditate, and it helps. The weather today finally calmed down a little bit, but I'm noticing here that my pins are getting ripped off. There are logs buried under the sand, same as over here, and I had to do it twice. Like some of these ropes were getting ripped out, and some of the tarp holes already got ripped out. I changed ropes. This side got ripped overnight. There's a rope here, and yeah, so a few more days of this and my tarp is gonna fall apart. Actually, this piece here is actually being ripped already, probably half a day, and it's gonna be gone. So yeah, for now all I can use is just my small MIDI keyboard, but I definitely want to get out from this peninsula at this point, because should weather change again, like it's a little bit better now, but should it become much worse, I'm stuck. I can't just take off and go, and without tarp here I would be completely stuck just being in the car, which is nice. It's cozy, it's warm, it's I have my movies, I have my music, I have weeks of food and water. It's fine, but I came here for specific purposes, to output my creativity and meditate. And right now, not a whole lot of it is happening, just because I'm completely bound by weather. At this point, really, I'm ready to even go back home to the closer lakes nearby my place. As long as it's not windy, some rain, it's fine. I can just deploy tarp like how I had it. But staying by the sea, for my purpose, what I wanted to do is just not productive at all. By any sea, anywhere I'll park, it's just gonna be windy and rainy. It's that kind of season. This is a rare opportunity right now, because forecast for many days still ahead is rain, wind and all that. There's some sun clearing. It's actually coming to be full low tide right now until 5 o'clock, and it's approaching 11 right now, so it's 10 actually, 10:30. So I have a gap to travel on that beach, and because it's not rain and sun came out, the beach is gonna dry up a little bit, creating the good condition for me to get out. Because if I don't get out of this place right now, the next opportunity gap could be who knows when. So I may as well just get out and find some other more quiet space somewhere, not on this end of peninsula, like even official campground, just somewhere where it's not windy. I don't have to battle elements, and I can just focus on, you know, doing my creative thing that I wanted to do. Time to make a run for it. That hill on the horizon is Toe Hill, and the entrance to this beach is actually nearby it. I think it's about 12 kilometers drive from here to there, and I have to rush it. Generally there is a sand here, but there is a stretch a few kilometers that is like super gravelly, like if you stop you may get really stuck. So the treacherous path is past. It became actually quite worse than when I came here on this peninsula. But now it's pretty quiet. I'm near civilization, so I may as well just explore the beach. So now I have to decide whether or not I should stay on this island and just deploy somewhere at paid campground and just covered by trees, so I can focus on the creative portion, music making. Both sides of this peninsula are open ocean. So if I find a bay somewhere very secluded bay, covered. It may not be all too bad as far as wind goes. I kind of feel like my friend George, who has to battle the elements all the time on his yacht. Right, like if the weather worsens, he needs to quickly find a bay, park there, right? Like you have to go with the flow of the weather. Same kind of here for me right now. Just a couple of days of staying at the place and already rust is everywhere. This was salty mist that was blowing over the dunes from the shore and has been coating my truck. And yeah, maybe in a couple of days I need to get out and somewhere and scrape it and paint it. There's like a little campground spot here. So if you drive on the West Beach and you do see some of these plates or things like that on trees, usually that means there is something, and there's definitely something here. Very cozy. You can deploy a couple of cars here. There's like a shelter. There's like a tarp thing you can put all around there. Maybe put a sleeping bag. I like how they put wood in here, so if the fire is here and wind blows, this is protecting from fire being extinguished too fast. There's even a little bench here for the view. Oh, but it's gorgeous view here for sure. This is definitely a very cozy place in here, but the thing is, if wind starts blowing from west side here, and sometimes it does, then you get the trees like that. So I really do like this gem, but I gotta find a place that is safe for like at least a week weather-wise and no wind. So a little bit of cigarette craving came in, so now is the perfect time to do a little bit of half an hour meditation and then go somewhere else. Stopped at this Helen campground to find out the price, 20 bucks. It's not bad, definitely covered with trees, and I'm still near the beach, but I need to take cash. So I'm going to town, grab some cash, potentially stay here for like a week or something. Just need peace and quiet and deploy it at the place, that's it. So as I was talking to the guy, I noticed there's chicken of the woods growing here. So this one here is a little woody, he said. And I grabbed it on Vancouver Island, last year's trip. No, 2 years ago trip now. So this here is a little woody because it's older, but then there I see spongy ones, so very fresh and young. Those are tastier ones. Oh yeah, some younglings. Let's grab some of these. Come on. Oh, even smells better. Gonna be delicious dinner today. Except I don't have any meat, right? Because I was aiming for Vipassana 10-day retreat. I need to restock in the shop right now and get a little bit of meat. Maybe I'll do Vipassana later. Like I've been doing meditations several times a day anyways, for like an hour, half an hour, just not like a whole day. Oh, it smells so good. It is not apparent in the video, but actually 4 to 5 days passed since I got to the tip of the island, and when I got out of it, I definitely wanted to resupply in Masset for more food and just general supplies like garbage bags and so on, since I wasn't really sure where I'm gonna end up in days to come. I had no plans at all or prior research of a map of the whole island. South of Masset, across the water, I was told by locals that there is actually beautiful, some kind of preserve of First Nations with beautiful hiking trails. But the hiking exploration I wasn't looking for, as I came with a certain focus for my trip to this island. However, if you're a hiker, the island is filled with absolutely enormous amount of trails. I'm just not a big hiker, so that wasn't my purpose to be there. talked to some tourist comrades. We did some crabbing here. A few crabs, but they told me about a nice place to crab. Actually near where Toe Hill. I'm gonna try it there, but it's different. It's supposed to be like a net and a scuba gear, not scuba gear, a thermal suit, which I don't have. But I may try the crab trap in there. So we are at Ops Beach. I'm surprised actually there is no one here. On this beach it doesn't say anywhere that you can camp, so I assume you can just deploy anywhere you want to. Problem is it's another open area, it's not secluded by trees. I'm still gonna go to that official campground. But it's good to know that there's free beaches like this here. Some people that I talked to said that these areas here at low tide, supposedly many crabs on the shore. If you're ready to undress fully and just go in with a net, you can score some big ones. This is probably a good area to throw a crab trap when tide is out. Right now it's going out actually. Full one is at 11 and currently it's 7:30 I think, or 8. So it's getting there. Back to the car and to the new place. Let's see what the new campground is gonna look like. I think I'm just gonna camp there for about a day, tonight, and then migrate actually to the one near Toe Hill and settle down for a week. So far in this island I've been focused on finding that secluded spot for my piano playing. Unfortunately, even this beach that I found, the space, there is a mist. Throughout the day there is a mist coming from the ocean. It doesn't seem like it's much, but it's actually carrying that salty water. So deploying my piano here is actually not a good idea too. So what I'm thinking actually, I'm gonna be on the island for about 3 more days, explore areas, like actually do my regular exploration, and then I'll go back to where I came from, Vancouver area, and then I'll settle near some lake where it's warm, there is no salty mist coming from ocean, and I can focus on my creativity. Even though this spot seemed like it's perfect because it was covered by trees from the ocean, the mist keeps coming, and after several days on Peninsula, I noticed new rusty spots on my truck. So all this area here nearby, it does get into all of your metal. As I mentioned previously, we're in the territory of Naikun Provincial Park, so I can't really fly the drone here. The only way to get bird's eye view onto north and south portions of this region is to get up on a Toe Hill. The hike to the hill is 2.3 kilometers total, so it's not very hard. Right now we're gonna check out Dalkatla Ecological Reserve. So I made a decision to go to the South Island. It's called Moresby, and I'll be arriving at Aleford Bay. The ferries go every 2 hours every day pretty much, so it's not a problem to just keep on going back and forth whenever you wish to. It is Friday, and coming to this island, it's like life doesn't even exist. I've only seen 2 people on the street, and that's it. It's such a beautiful sunset. So I think I really found the spot I was looking for. I'm gonna hunker down here for, at this point, probably the whole 2 weeks. I'm gonna do my meditations here, I'm gonna do my music. So this is Mersby Island. I'm not gonna reveal this location. It is an official campground, but because it's not Maine, it's not Graham Island, I guess not as many people come to this place. And actually when I arrived yesterday, I saw how unalive the place was, as in I just didn't see people. This campground can accommodate about 20 spots, and I'm actually currently on a group camping spot. But it's Friday. Yesterday was Friday. So if no one arrived yesterday, no one's gonna arrive today. This is, I think I'm just gonna be here alone for several weeks, really. Maybe like occasional one person may show up or something like that. The key thing here that is just amazing, and the extra safety for my equipment, and that I don't have to really worry about any of my awnings, is this little house here, the open house. I do have cord extensions. I can just extend my cord all the way to the house, deploy my piano there, deploy my equipment, and every day do my music there, go for walks on the beach, come back, meditations, whatever. The other great thing, of course, is I'm obstructed by trees from the beach, so any wind is not going to be coming here. It's also a bay, and I noticed from last night when I was walking deploying a crab trap as the tide was out, the wind was barely noticeable in comparison to any other areas that I've been to. So because it's so secluded, there isn't going to be a whole lot of salty mist coming in here, if any at all, plus the trees are blocking the place. Well, it looks like there is one person or couple that are staying at this campground on the far end, but that's probably going to be the maximum people I'll see here in weeks. Oh, it's so good in here. There is no wind. This is my place. This is my place. While I was filming, I think I just saw a big fish splash. There's definitely gonna be some fish in here. So at 11:30 yesterday I deployed my crab trap. I did it once on the seashore a year ago, and I lost the trap because of currents, right? One of the First Nations guys the other day said, well, just put some rocks in there, in the trap. I'm like, oh yeah, well usually they tie it around metal cage. I don't have metal cage, I have different type of trap. So I just dumped a bunch of rocks yesterday, and looks like the trap is still here. But what's also helping is because it's a bay, right? It's not just open ocean, the kind of scenario where I lost the trap. So hopefully there's crabby lunch in there, but I'll find out at the full low tide again, because you have to deploy it at full low tide, right, and come back at full low tide. So full low tide is gonna be in about 2 hours from now. I'll come back. Yeah, this is definitely my place. I feel inspired already. It's gonna be awesome 2 weeks. So guide Ferry told me that on this southern island there are lots of chanterelle mushrooms. Way more than Northern Island. I'm like, seriously? Like, considerably? He's like, oh yeah, it's famous for that. So I'm gonna be going in the woods in coming days as well, just to gather some. On this beach there are tons of butter clam shells, but I don't know how to get it. Like, tons of them. I tried to dig yesterday in the sand, even with shovel, clam gun, anything. It's just a top layer of sand. Underneath it's just a bunch of rocks, so it's impossible to dig. I don't know in this scenario how to get them, but obviously there's plenty of them here. And just walking along the beach on the low tide, I didn't see any holes, clam holes, nothing to indicate they're there. So it's kind of unfortunate. I know there's tons of them here, but I just don't know the method to how to find them. Maybe over time being here, I'll actually find out. My crab trap is exposed now, so let's see if there is anything. So there are definitely crabs here. This is small red rock crab. I can't keep it, even though these guys can be twice smaller than Dungeness crabs. This is still too small for red rock crab, but it's a male. So what I need to do here is fish around and use like fish head carcasses to put in the trap, and that should be really smelly stuff. Because what I used here right now is just variety of cat food, like salmon and tuna, can't just put in there, which is probably not the best, right? Because these guys like rotten smells. Got a little wet on the beach, the rain has started, but out here I can barely even feel it. This is definitely the place I've been looking for, especially for music playing in that little hut there. I'm just so relieved. I'm too stretched here, even 2 extension cords. It's still not enough for me to place a piano in the middle of this house. Finally, after a week of Haida Gwaii, I found my place to just deploy and do my thing, basically. Oh my god, it's gonna be sweet. I actually haven't practiced piano playing. It's been over a week since I left for vacation, but I'm here to compose mainly and practice some piano here and there, but mainly compose. It's a bit of a green tea time, and I'm actually gonna use Garmin to send message where I am and let my parents and a few friends of mine know that I'm gonna be staying here for probably the remainder of my vacation, which is another 3 weeks. It's kind of unusual for me not to have at camping a beer in the evening. Instead it's tea. I don't have any cigarettes or beer with me on this trip, so for the next 3 weeks it is what it is, which is good. It's a cleanse. I definitely lucked out today on more crabs. Putting that fish in there definitely helped. It's probably 3 times more crabs than yesterday, so altogether I think I got 7 or 8. These are red rock crabs and they're gonna be absolutely delicious. Unfortunately I don't have a lid from this pot. It was glass and it broke on the last trip, and I forgot to buy the new one, so it's gonna take a while to boil this water. And I use ocean water because that's the best way to cook shrimp, crabs, anything from the sea. You just use that salinated water and it's perfect. Oh yeah. Come on, baby. Of the fittest and biggest. I gotta eat you guys. Oh no, my stuff is actually over there. I just came to pick up my stuff. The rain has started, so And I actually do have to run the car. Morning piano practice and learning more of my actual piano functionality. Depleted my battery. I'm basically getting no solar here at all because of tree coverage and clouds right now. So it's gonna be twice a day running gas, and I think in a week I'll have to go and refuel. I do have spare gas canister over there. The beauty of this place, I don't have to care about rain at all. Yeah. Just there you go. Some Greek mythology never gets old.
No one.
There's a really nice one on Amazon Prime. Download it, a series.
Agreed to attack.
Unfortunately, not the whole series. Now, so when I'm in Civilization, I'm gonna download the rest of it.
Gaia secretly made a sickle out of flint and gave it to her son. All he had.
So for a few days, I was actually contemplating to go into town and do some restocking. Like I need more water. Because I did decide to stay here for 3 more weeks, and I will do Vipassana meditation, but not 10 days. I'll cut it in 5 days because I lost first week, and the rest of the time it's music production, right? Like how I wanted it. So besides water, I need some other miscellaneous supplies, and actually I did break down, and I did smoke with them yesterday because they were treating cigarettes, and I couldn't refuse. So we depleted their cigarettes quite a bit, so I have to restock today and buy them some. Just lots of miscellaneous items like garbage bags and so on. So for the next 3 weeks, I don't want to get out of this place because I also don't want to leave this setup over here alone, right? Like while I'm gone for a couple of hours. Generally, it's island life. You know, nothing's probably gonna happen if I leave it here. But the good opportunity here is they are here, neighboring right next to me. So I'll live for a few hours. We'll make sure that everything is fine here. So it's promising to be very sunny couple of days. I'll definitely use the opportunity to take a swim in the ocean. And I do have shower overdue, so I'm gonna be taking it over there by the catapult. Haida Gwaii kids, they're definitely not afraid of cold. No, kids in general are not afraid of cold, but here, this is their bathwater. Breakfast and meditation in the sun. Awesome. Alrighty, resupply run complete. Definitely got myself lots of bug spray now. Island prices, I spent $400. I don't know on what. It's ridiculous here, right? Like I think paper towels I got, the bundle, it was like $16. It's ridiculous. But I needed lots of garbage bags because I'm staying here for 20 days, 20 more days, 21. They didn't have permanent thermocell set up, but some kind of candles to ward off bugs. And yeah, just fruits, veggies until I run out, and then I have those Indian packets, food stuff. But until then, I got some, you know, some fresh produce. I come back with stash for the girls, you know, wine, all that stuff. And I see a note in my gazebo thing. It's like, oh, we went to the lake, couldn't wait any longer. Good, because I was hoping they wouldn't be waiting for me. Because they wanted to go, you know, Secret Cove, and I wanted to join them. But because I'm not gonna get out in Civilization for another 3 weeks, I had to pay ahead my bills, you know, I stopped, made some phone calls, posted some social media stuff, this and that, talked to parents. Just a bunch of different little things to kind of close up, so I don't have to think about that for the next 3 weeks. And it's actually good they are not here until evening. I'm gonna use that catapult thing that's unconstructed and finally gonna take a shower while we're gone. It's perfect. Oh, but it's crabbing time. I came just in time for the low tide to start coming in.
Then besides this seaweed here, I guess the trap got flipped upside down, even with all the rocks during night. Well, yeah, there were quite a big waves yesterday. So, from what I can tell, there are no crabs here. Damn it! I'm thinking the flipping probably happened because of all the seaweed. It adds weight. I gotta clean it up. It's like everything's kind of soaked with the weight of seaweed. Alright, it's shower time. It's okay that there are people sitting there in the distance. They'll just have to do a little bit of voyeurism. There was a problem yesterday. I tried to keep this hanging for the whole day today, so it warms up in the sun, but I discovered yesterday that there is a hole there. Because I haven't used it in so long, since the last big trip, pretty much a year. It's been wobbling among other things in the truck and punctured a few holes. I used crazy glue to patch it up, so it's back online, but I just came back from shopping, didn't have time to heat up, so it's gonna be cold. And another thing is, apparently I didn't take a single towel from home. Usually I carry like 3 towels, 3 robes, but that's usually for like a sauna setup in the Russian circle. But for this trip I'm like, it's summer, I'm just gonna take it out, and yeah, so no towel. But it's actually quite warm. I just need to wash up and just stay in the sun over there, and that's so wonderful people watching. So yeah, it's some kind of a catapult someone did at some point. The rope snapped. There are some rocks here. Right? Like, boom! And it flies. Each time I take shower in nature like this on big trips, there is something special about it. I don't know why, but the whole showering session has the whole different meaning. Out in nature, in sun, by the sea, it's got different vibes. I can't explain it, but it's just wonderful. So I got about 10 liters here, so I have to use like sparingly, very sparingly. Definitely super refreshing, and I needed that. I think it's supposed to be sunny for another few days, so this is perfect timing for all of this. What I do otherwise between showers, it's just like a van lifer sometimes. You get one of those wet napkin things for either kids or Lysol napkins, and yeah, you just kind of wash yourself every few days like this, right? And because it's got alcohol and stuff, it's pretty much disinfectant, you don't smell. That's another way of dealing with not having proper showers. And another thing someone told me not to smell for a long distance when you travel, use baby powder. I never used it before, but that's what apparently people in the army do, right? Because they don't get opportunity to take showers for a long time in the field somewhere, let's say they're posted in Afghanistan or whatever. So they just use baby powder in genitals, in the, you know, in the down there area, and that just keeps them going for weeks essentially, from what I've heard. What's the name again?
Rebecca.
Tiffany. Who was the Orca?
Orca.
Oh, Orca
yes.
and Raven over there.
Yeah,
I see.
they're coming soon.
So swim time?
Yep, swim time.
So she is a true Haida Gwaii, and she actually grew up in here. It's like bathwater for her.
Yeah.
After that shower, it was so nice in here in sunset, and I kept listening to my favorite tune, just trying to dissect the song, like the beat, each layer. And I'm like, why am I keep listening to the stuff? How about I start actually making things? So just deployed the chair here, started doing the beat. Obviously my big keyboard, it's kind of hard to transport here, so I'm glad I took this MIDI one. It's perfect for the beach. So for a true Haida Gwaii, this water is cold, perfect. Not perfect.
Good.
supposedly it's gonna be a week of rain now, and this setup is just perfect. I don't have to worry about anything. So I've been trying to compose and find the right sounds for my first composition. I wanted it to be a chill beat, but it's turned out to be again more like on the ethnic side. I really like those unique instruments from Far East and India. So I just kind of started going into that path with my first composition here. So yesterday, half of the day I spent kind of browsing my library. Well, library that's included with the software, different instruments, plus whatever I pre-downloaded, some Indian instruments and voices and so on, before I left on this trip. So there is lots of data to go through on loops and sounds and actual like virtual instruments, just to pick what's the right kind of sounds and different song progressions I want to implement. And currently it's just a couple of beats right now, but I've been layering, so later you can move beats around, right, and change different order, so the melody changes as well. Somewhere in this track, I'm definitely gonna use this instrument, the Jaru. Maybe on top a few more instruments, but maybe just let that instrument play. Check out the sound, it's like, oh, so good. So a few days ago those women left, but the cat was lost, so owner, Orca, she said she would come back in a couple of days. To stop in the town, and she was back here and brought me some flower essences. So Orca is learning how to work with flower essences, and part of the testing of the curriculum, she needs to experiment sort of on a few people and see the progression throughout months. I'll probably be that guinea pig. So Orca, what are you gonna do for me today? What is all this stuff here?
My magical potions.
Okay.
They're all in disarray right now.
So flower essences,
My
right?
flower essence. Yes, the Alaskan flower essence.
And you're gonna mix like 5 ingredients?
Well, I'm gonna see what is right for you, but a blend of, you know, usually it's about 3 to 5 different essences. Including gem essences, flower essences, and environmental essences.
There's lots of magic potions right there.
Lots of magic potions. A bag of crystals.
Got some crystals, the pendulum, right? Pendulum?
The pendulum.
Well. Like full on witch. Or I mean Hierophant, right? Hierophant. High Priestess.
High priestess. These are just the first practitioner of flower essence cards. It's just like whatever you feel, like, you know, you can just vibe it out kind of thing.
Just look at
Ooh. Sweet Gale. Keywords: clarity, communication, receptivity, relationship, sincerity. Healing qualities: helps us identify and release deep emotional pain and tension that undermines the quality of our communication and interactions with others, especially in male-female relationships.
Oh, so this was a good pick.
Wow! Oh my god, that's wow! Okay, we're gonna put that one in. I mean, if you want to go through them.
Yeah, I'll just find that blueberry. What's the other?
Blueberry pollen, white spruce.
White spruce. Things.
Well, it's like choosing one that you think is better. I personally think aquamarine.
Over this one? Yeah, I would say aquamarine was more featured.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I got the mix of 5 things here. So blue pollen, aquamarine, white spruce, Miguel,
Soul
go
support.
create, and soul support. And now I need to take 3 times a day.
3 to 4 times a day.
A few drops for like a month. So now I lost progression from last night. So I kind of switched away from that Indian vibe I was going for. Again, I was going too far, too complex right away, and dealing with ethnic instruments. Kind of mistake I did a few months ago too when I attempted. So I'm going back to simple stuff like just piano roll, some violin in the background, or string like quartet, and no drums even. Yeah, just pretty much that. Maybe little hints of sax somewhere. So down to like 3 layers, and that's it. Yeah, Orca left. There was a few days she was trying to chase the cat, and anyway, she left now. But if you listen to this, like, thanks for the company, was great times, and I'll use those flower essences. We'll see you in a month time. The progression, I'll try to pay attention. It was a little bit distracting here and there moments. Because like my creativity comes more towards the evening, and in the evening that's when you usually hang out at campings, right? For dinner, whatever, chat. So I'm alone now. I have 2 more weeks to go. This kind of been behind. The schedule, like you go crab trapping, you go this. I went to town a few times in the past week and a half, because it's only half an hour drive in my car. And before you know it, day just slips by. Like you touch, I do some like piano practice here and there, but days just disappear. So yesterday finally I'm like, okay, let's do that piano roll thing. I sat down, spent the whole half of the day, got to a point where I'm at right now almost, and then the whole evening I was and saved that file, and then the whole evening I was saving as like a separate file, right? Because I keep saving files every, let's say, a few hours. I change name. It's typical in the industry, right? Like in case this exact thing happens, so you don't lose work, which now makes me think I need to save every hour progressions as a separate file, just so I can go back to much later point. So essentially, yeah, I lost probably 4 or 5 hours of getting the melody going and correcting the rhythm and everything like that. Well, that's that. So you gotta, yeah, it's unfortunate. It's been now 5 hours getting back to where I was. I had it going so well. I thought today I'm gonna finish the track till the evening, the whole composition song, put it into DAW, and then spend the whole day tomorrow just polishing, rearranging all this stuff.
The following track was actually the second piece that was produced on this island, but it was more in a rough sketch idea. However, more or less a finished idea that I then needed to polish and expand upon a year after to actually fully release it on Spotify at that quality. It is not the track that I spent 2 weeks doing, which will be the second song that will be playing later on. However, I had several ideas going on the island, and among them, these two became some polished ideas that turned into actual songs.
this whole endeavor here with this one song, it took about 2 weeks for me. And it just so happened I wanted to create it as a last thing. I had a few songs going before in the beginning, but they weren't going. We just kind of came to halt, like a muse left, and I switched on to this one, and this one just started progressing, so I spent about 4 days doing it. And then I thought, oh, I'm gonna just need 2 more days, which is yes, because it took about 2 more days just to finish progressions, right? Then it took a day to transfer chord board information into FL Studio, then almost another day to kind of rearrange octaves and do all sorts of corrections and remove keys, add keys, all sort of things. And then about a few more days, well, I'm almost done right now. Yesterday was mastering sound, right? Because like as I started to, hey, let's start producing like all of this stuff together, and all the sound interfering, peaking over 0 decibels and so on, and I had to tweak layers and then mess things up and so on. So then I added vocals, and that needed rearranging some sounds too, so vocals actually come forth a little bit more. Overall, wow, what an effort. Almost 2 weeks down, I'm completely exhausted past 3 days or so. I've been going to bed at like 4 a.m, like trying to force myself to go to bed, because I'm like, this is happening, like I want to continue working, but I need to sleep, or like my whole day-night cycle is going to be completely ruined for the rest of a couple of weeks. And yeah, barely eating, it's like that creative kind of stress, you're like in the zone. I picked up smoking like way more than I usually even do in the evenings, a little bit of beer. Meditations came to almost a halt. I think past 2 days I only did like once a day. It's just like, okay, let's go back into the music. I got so many layers going on here that my pad is starting to freak out, right? That noise. So it's towards the completion of this, is getting harder to preview things. So the fall is definitely here. It's September 17th, and it's starting to be rainier, even here in the bay, kind of stormier. So I'm thinking maybe in a week time. I still have, 10 days, but maybe cut it short, maybe even 7 days. Just start heading home and camp somewhere south where it's a little bit warmer. I do have my piano covered here. I started covering it for every night, because during nighttime a storm could be happening, and even in this little hut and secluded by trees, there was a time I woke up in the morning and the whole thing was covered in water. I got lucky that it actually didn't get damaged. But the wind can still come here like sideways and blow rain. So I finally produced my first track, and actually I'll play a sample of it for you here. The music production apparently is such an intense process. I totally didn't expect. So after doing my first song for 2 weeks, producing first song, I was completely burned out. So I had to take a couple of days, just chill. And I'm like, hey, how about I had a book with me on board. How about I actually start reading music composition, because here I am, I've done the song, sure, relying on software to help me out, this and that, and now I got curious, like, hey, how did this song happen for me, really, like, it just kind of happened, but let's get into the theory of why did it work for me, or why did I use certain themes versus the other themes, right? And it's kind of starting to make a little bit more sense here, but then also having gone through the whole process of composing a song and actually, using digital audio workstation on a tablet, already lots of things I'm reading here. Yeah, sure, it's like new terminology I find out, but I know what's behind the theory because I've already experienced it, like actually in practice, discovering for myself, right? Just like clicking here and there. So it's semi-useful for me. I'm actually finding that I'm not using piano as much because I'm not doing the piano practices. Sure, I compose the thing, but apparently reading a book, many composers, actually, it's not a good idea, but some composers out there, they don't know how to play instruments properly, right? So It's kind of like I'm gonna start taking it to nature with me. It's more like a home setup. I do still want to learn to play piano, right, for my family to train. But here's and so now I'm actually using it more like for speakers because it's way better speakers than this thing here, right? So better. It's almost like on par with my headphones because when I'm producing music, I always use the headphones. So on these speakers here, some basses and so on probably not gonna be picked up still as good as speakers, like usual. But so when I showed it, I did a little bit of video. I got out in town that day and I kind of posted it on Instagrams and so on. By the way, follow me on Instagram or Facebook, Gear into Adventure. And actually for my music thing, it's gonna be Mystic Notions. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook as well. I call this song Invocation of the Muse. So the idea for Mystic Notions in my musical brand, mainly I want to focus on producing kind of orchestral epic type music with, as well as in parallel, sort of Middle Eastern Indian motif type music. And eventually, once I learn and become better, I want to kind of merge the two worlds, the East and West, and maybe in the middle, right, like Middle East. And kind of, and even touch some African kind of motifs, and maybe even Australian Aboriginal vibes, and kind of merge it all together in some orchestration pieces down the road, right? So it becomes more like worldly kind of orchestra type stuff. That's going to be like the main focus. And on the side, I may do some lo-fi and other kind of tunes, just experimenting with sound and other things I listen to, more like ambient themes, meditation music, and so on. But the big focus down the road is going to be merging East and West. Unfortunately, people do steal stuff. I had a crab trap sitting over there, and it was kind of really stormy yesterday here towards the evening, like super cold. But then 2 days ago, neighbors arrived here in RV, and they did deploy their trap over there. But it was like simpler and worse. And yesterday they did come by and check out my trap a few times and even touched it for whatever reason during daytime, thinking maybe it's abandoned. Well, I was thinking that, you know, it's filled with rocks, so it can go away. And today I came out checking just before the tide started coming out. There's no buoy of mine, right? And their trap is gone. And they were packing away. And yeah, now with tide in, it's not there anymore, and they left. So I'm pretty sure they took my crab trap. They're just like, oh, it's nicer, it's bigger. How about we take it? And just took off early in the morning. So I'll see where it's going. With my Indian tune production, starting tonight actually in the truck, right? As in the evening, I prefer not to even sit in the house. I just go lock in my truck, crank a little bit of heat going there, you know, get 12 Celsius, and it's nice and warm, so I can work and read there and so on, you know, in comfort. But this place is amazing. If you're looking for seclusion, like a retreat type of environment, slow-paced life in town, everywhere, this is perfect location to come here. It can't be any better. It's isolated, not too many tourists come here. It's very slow pace of life here. A little bit expensive to shop for produce, for groceries, but not as much as I thought, right? Gas is definitely expensive, more expensive than Vancouver. And because, you know, produce and things like that, they come here, I think, once a week to the North and South Island. So it's been raining for the past several days. All I've been doing is pretty much mainly sitting inside of the truck because it gotten cold as well, but today not as much. Just a little bit of incidental walk, and I noticed a few mushrooms. Not a whole lot in this area, and I thought there's nothing by the sea at all. But this will be a yummy addition to my noodles and some of that Indian stuff. So I'm changing my plans a little bit. Even though I have one more week before the ferry, I don't actually have it booked. So it's first come, first serve kind of thing, and I may still miss it. So I'm also kind of deciding that there's certain things I want to do at home, like for example get into some musical packages on the desktop computer that I don't have here. I'd rather spend that time there than trying to continue on the Android platform here. I'm very grateful to have found this place. It's definitely been a place for creativity. It's been a place for me producing my first song, which is exactly the proof I was looking for. If I had it in me, what it takes to be a composer, musician, just not even knowing music theory, you know, just trying to kind of intuitively going around applications and trying to come up with what's in my head and translate that into musical language out here. And I think I've succeeded. Obviously it's a first song, you know, it has rough angles, rough edges, but I'll probably remaster it on a desktop computer with much better virtual instruments than whatever Android app can offer. I'm so not looking forward to carrying this case for the next who knows how many days. It's time for last meditation. It's a little bit sad to leave, This has been my home for almost 3 weeks. Coming out to the beach every morning, meditating, just looking at the scenery. Well, most mornings. Sometimes it was so stormy, I just kept in the woods. But overall, this place was amazing. I'm cruising alongside Skidegate Lake, trying to get an access to it, and I remembered that someone told me Mersby Island is full of mushrooms in mushroom season. Like people from Northern Ireland come here for mushrooms. It's clouds of chanterelles, and over there as well. Yeah, lots of chanterelles in this place. I don't really need more right now, because even this, what I gathered here, is good enough for me for like 2 dinners. I don't want to pick a bunch and then for them to spoil. But well, actually, yeah, I'm off Mersby Island today. It's just I want to be off the island tomorrow, so I have options. If I want to go back home and do some city stuff, I can. If I want to still hang out in some place somewhere, camp, I can do that too. But as long as I'm on this big island right now, and Ferry is only now not every day of the week, but 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm basically bound, right? And I don't have ticket to the ferry, so I need to make sure I'm off the island so I have more options. But yeah, I'll probably gather some mushrooms on the way back to Vancouver as well. Well, Mosquito Lake definitely wasn't eventful, but then again, it's pouring rain on and off here, so I can't really film too much, and the clouds here are kind of low, rainy clouds, so I can't really see views. It is what it is, I can't control weather. But right now I'm arriving at Mersby Camp, and that's another on the east side of the South Island, another kind of like campground area in a little bay area-ish. There is a national park here, Gwaii, but it's very, very south of Mersby Island. It's only reachable by helicopter, by boat, so I can't show you that. And I'm not about to take that tour. Didn't make it to previous ferry, so I jumped back to Sandspeed, found the guy, did a little bit of car wash because I couldn't even touch handles, everything was so muddy. So I'm going back to Skidegate and gonna sleep over somewhere in there, and tomorrow will be the ferry, hopefully, if I can make it. A quick update, so apparently it's September. Thursdays, Fridays and Saturdays the ferry from here to Prince Rupert go at 10 p.m. so it's actually overnight, and Mondays and Tuesdays it's 10 a.m. So now this is Tuesday, and the guy said there's no chance for me even on standby to get into Thursday one. It's like the busiest one. So he put me on the standby to Friday one, which he said like, oh, 95% chance I'll get in. And chances are someone's gonna call me by then and say, you know, you're officially in. So my spontaneous getting out plan definitely didn't work out as I kind of expected, but at least I'm on a standby now for, well, in a couple of days. So I have pretty much, since it's evening, pretty much 3 days to focus on music, whatever, finding out a campsite. I'll stay on the Northern Island now, and yeah, it's gonna be an overnighter. This place is absolutely amazing when I woke up when there was no wind. The water was so calm and it was actually warm. But as soon as there is a little breeze here, oh my god, it's cold. Like I had to double pants, double everything. I'm gonna sit down right now for meditation. Obviously, well, I'm probably actually for meditation gonna wear gloves. I've already done that in other places before, right? So you feel like the most comfortable, and you just sit there for half an hour. Just like, you know, the environment doesn't really bother you. This is what I do with piano on the trip when I'm in transition. I just put it under and it's sealed in the case. The element is not gonna bother it. But definitely, as I was saying before, it's no longer gonna be coming with me on trips. It's just way too bulky for my little space here. This place definitely provided me the solitude I was looking for. It was a little bit rough in the beginning, looking for exactly the space, but then for 3 weeks I stayed in that amazing bay, and the past several days I've been kind of cruising around Queen Charlotte town. So did I get everything that I wanted out of this month and a week long trip? Yes and no. So I definitely got into music creation. I proven to myself that I do have potential. I just need to expand on the skills, get more into music theory and keep going in that direction. It's gonna take me a few years to get on a more professional level in music, but it's okay. These things take time. Of course, when it comes to self-development and meditations, things didn't work out the same as I kind of hoped. There's definitely a little bit of struggle in the beginning because of finding a place, and then I kept bumping into people, and to have a little bit of socializing, I kept joining for drinks, and then it relaxed me, and I would ask for a cigarette, and as soon as I did that, that's it. So this location is absolutely perfect for long walks on the beach, nature trails, and just overall peace and quietness of a place, the slow island life. However, if you need a doctor here or get oil change like I wanted today while waiting for the ferry, the next oil change at OK Tire, they said in 2 weeks. So you better be prepared to do your major things before coming to an island, because here it's a long wait to do even the basic things that we take for granted in the city life. In here there are not too many specialists in different areas, so come prepared. Man, month and a week, I need to do my haircut very shortly. But anyway, if you're new to the channel, please like and subscribe, and also check out Mystic Notions, my musical shenanigans. I'll be opening a YouTube channel once I come back, and also Facebook and Instagram. And you can follow me on Spotify as well under this name. Ciao!